Hey, how's it going, friends? FeiyuTech sent me the AK4500 and I'm going to do some testing on it, but first I want to show you some features, and then I went down on the bicycle rail to trail with my daughter so I could follow her because there was no other way for me to run unless I was facing myself, and I wanted to change it up a little bit. You always see my face running and sweating and all that, so I'm going to be following her on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of my favorite features about this gimbal and the remote and all the wonderful things you can do with it. One of them being that all 3-axis lock, and that's a big deal because I've already used this to just take and put in my car with the camera on it, locked, so nothing moves on the seat while I'm rolling down the road, and that's a really big feature because you don't have to worry about anything moving or rolling while the vehicle's moving. And of course, I put the seatbelt around it. But to not have to fit this in a bag or a box is a big deal, because once you have it adjusted and balanced for your camera, it's not going to fit back in the provided box here because it just doesn't. So here we go. The AK4500 comes in a pretty similar box and case to the AK4000. It's also roughly the same size as the AK4000, though it holds much more weight. The tripod clip is reinforced in a certain spot right where it locks on the gimbal, so you want to make sure you have that going the right way. And like I said before, one of my favorite features of this new gimbal is that it just locks in all 3 motors and different positions. So you can have it safely in one spot if you're just letting it sit, or even if you're transporting it. So you can leave the camera on, and that's just a really cool feature to have. In the description of this video, I'm going to put a link to FeiyuTech's tutorial on balancing this specific gimbal because it's really spot on. But basically you want to be able to move the camera at any position and it just stays put instead of moving around. You want it to stay still even when the gimbal's off. I usually keep it on action for the gimbal response, just so I can have it follow things quickly that I'm following. There's actually much more you can use the menu to control on the camera, but I just use it to control the gimbal itself. The included handle that I got with this kit, you can put either way. I've tried it both and I'm still undecided on which is my favorite, but it does help distribute the weight better and ends your fatigue that you're used to with other gimbals. The wheel can be used to control all 3 axes separately and also focus, whether it's digitally or with the optional brushless follow focus, which is also really cool. The auto rotation feature is a really great feature for time lapses, but more so for me, I would definitely program it so it could follow a subject or a certain thing, or just anything where I could have it do it all by itself without me actually touching a gimbal or controlling anything with the gimbal, even though it has a remote. It's still a really neat feature. Actually, what you're seeing right now is highly sped up because I set the time too long for the path that I set, but it definitely works every single time. And it also allows you to repeat the exact same path as many times as you want before you reset it. The 360 rotation mode, or as most people know it, inception mode, is really easy to pull off as long as it's perfectly balanced. I tried it without it being balanced, and even though this isn't the heaviest camera it supports, it really struggled coming back around and I could hear the motors chattering. Though initially I thought, well, I'll probably never use this remote, setting it up with Bluetooth and realizing everything I could do with it, including the follow mode, which is really cool because you can control it from behind the camera, not necessarily on yourself, though you can do it, but you'll see the remote. But either way, it's worth experimenting with, I think, and getting good at it because it's yet another way to control the gimbal without even touching it. Another option is, instead of using the included longer carbon fiber handle, you can connect the remote directly to the extra handle and control it from there. So thanks for checking this video out. I really stand behind the AK4500. So today it's my favorite gimbal that I've tested. It's my favorite gimbal that I've used, borrowed. So the link to buy this or check out the full-on specs is in the description, as well as the very helpful AK4500 balancing video, which is very helpful for, especially for someone who's never balanced a gimbal, or just to refresh your memory if you haven't balanced a gimbal in a while, because even though I've gotten pretty good at it, like 5-10 minutes with a brand new gimbal, when I first started I was very confused about balancing 2 of the 3 axes. So it's a very helpful video, so I'm going to link that in the description too. So please subscribe and tell your friends. Create, share, repeat, and keep it awesome. I'll see you next time.